everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Dance Talk Realness, a podcast where we discuss all nuances concerning education and dance, because a dance experience is an experience worth talking about. Today, I am joined by my two lovely mentees, Ms. Stephanie Crockett and Gabrielle Stoller. Hey, ladies.
Hi.
So,
hi.
Before we jump into today's conversation, we have our quote of the day, and today's quote is from Jim Henson. Please watch out for each other and love and forgive everybody. It's a good life. Enjoy it. And I think especially in these times, we really need to try to have as much positivity as possible. All right. So ladies, how has quarantine been treating you?
Oh, should I go first? Okay, well, I guess I'll go first. Well, it's been interesting. When we were first hit with the, this whole quarantine thing is happening, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to stay on my fitness tip. I'm going to, keep grinding. It's okay. And then after a while, I started getting real lazy, and I just lost all of it that I worked so hard for. But I feel like I've kind of just been taking it one day at a time and actually really enjoying this time off, because thinking in reality, I'm probably never going to get this amount of time off, and just finding time to rest, because I'm so used to being on the go constantly. So now I'm like, okay, what do I do? Okay, just relax and, take some time out for yourself.
Yeah, same thing for me. Like, at first it was uncomfortable to have this much downtime and this much relaxing time. But then I've started to get more used to it, and I miss normal life, of course, but I don't entirely mind getting up and just strolling to my living room, wearing sweatpants. And also, same thing as Stephanie, I started off real motivated with working out, but then I was like, let me actually take this time to relax. So, yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like you take a couple of days, okay, well, I'll just work out tomorrow. Okay, I'll just work out till tomorrow, and then next, you're...
Then 2 weeks later.
Yes.
Dot.
No, that's a real thing. Have either of you been taking any of the dance classes that have been offered, through the Instagram Lives, Facebook, and all of that?
Yeah, I've been doing, just because I love him so much, One Child Dude's class from Tufts University. He does a really great online class, and he just reminds me of being back in college.
I have not. I've just been stretching on my own and some YouTube Pilates and yoga classes.
Yes. I'm with you, Gabby, because I 100% have, and I keep saying I'm going to, and I'm like, every time I remember, then it's the class was 2 days ago, and I was like, oh.
I have been learning TikTok dances. I don't know if that counts.
Oh, the TikTok dances?
Yes, I have been learning TikTok choreography.
First of all, the TikTok, I downloaded the app, and I'm still confused. I kind of tried to figure it out, and it took me several hours. I'm like, so where do I get the dance routines from? They're like, you just have to watch the students. Like, you just have to watch the video and learn it from there. I'm like, there's no one that can just teach it. That's too much.
And that is a real question that I have, because I'm like, but wait a minute. If there's no one breaking it down, and you're like, okay, I just watch it to learn it. You mean to tell me all this time in class, you couldn't have just watched me do this and you just learned it? Is that what you're saying?
Here I am teaching you. I am breaking it down for you.
Because they pick it up real fast on the TikTok, but when I want to give them a 5, 6, 7, 8, can you do it again? Can you do it again?
Man, I was like, there is something wrong with that math. I do not agree. I do not concur with them, because that does not make sense. But, bless their hearts. It's fine, I guess. I actually just did a yoga video off of YouTube today. Oh my gosh, the lady, she was so shady. She was saying that if you're working out properly, you should feel the tension in the muscles, and you should be breaking a sweat. And she said, and if you don't sweat, maybe work harder. And I was like, oh Jesus.
You didn't have to read my life like that.
Right? It's I was like, why are you so loud? What are you doing? The disrespect. That's completely attacked. I'm like, sis, we still got 10 minutes of this workout. What are we? Now I feel a little self-conscious. as I'm listening. But it was funny to me because I was like, that's a mess I would have said in class. So I'm like, can't even be mad. But at least I'm not recorded saying that, and people are playing it throughout the world. But, it'd be like that. All right, so what do you think the importance is of having a quality mentor-mentee relationship? The little sub questions under that for you I had are, what are some of the benefits of having a dance mentor for you? And from your experience, what would you keep and what would you change?
Can I answer the first one, and then you might have to remind me of the second question?
Yeah, that's no problem.
Yeah, I tried to write those down. I was like,
it's all right. I can repeat it.
So I think the benefits of having a dance-specific mentor are just someone who understands you and understands what you're going through. Especially in most schools, there's only one dance teacher. So there are definitely mentors available to help you with more general things like lesson planning and classroom management. But someone who has been in the field for a while and has a lot of experience, especially in the public school setting, like Truly does, has just been really nice. And she gets it. The struggles, the challenges, the wins, she gets all of it. So that's been really important. And I sometimes just need to vent, and these guys get it.
Definitely, just kind of piggybacking off of Gabby, like just like she said, we're pretty much the only ones in our school building, so we really have no one to talk to. No one really understands like what we're trying to express. Maybe it could be frustration or a creativity thing, but just being able to bounce off ideas to other teachers, especially a mentor who, like Gabby said, has experience. It really helps with kind of easing through the sequence and knowing that, okay, everything is going to be okay. We're just going to take this step by step and just learn from each step and each process as we go along the way. Okay,
so I will say, because what is this year 3 for y'all? Am I making up numbers? I was like, am I tripping? Okay, so yeah, so I've known you now for like 3 years, and very crazy. And so for those listening, little backstory that I guess I should have started with, but now we're here. is Gabby and I were actually a part of the mentor pilot program for NDEO, and I always said through whenever I would turn in responses that the pairing that they did with us was amazingly well done. I don't know how they came to the decision, but I'm glad that they did. And then we kidnapped Stephanie into it.
We did.
Because Gabby was like, she's like, okay, so I have a friend and she needs a mentor too. Would you mind maybe, helping her out if you need? I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. And then it's just been a great time. Yeah. And
yeah, I remember that. Because I think we were at Towson, and then we ended up staying in Bill Bateman's parking lot just talking for hours.
Yes.
And then I was like, I'll be texting you.
Yes. She's like,
here's my number.
It's like, we'll talk. And I was like, it's no problem. And so I know from my side, I think what was beneficial of being a mentor is that I was forced to really think about things, not necessarily differently, but to actually think about them deeper. That there were a lot of practices that I did, and it had gotten to the point where I was like, I do this because I know this is what I do. It's just what happens. And when I would have to answer your questions, I'm like, okay, I actually need to be able to explain why I do it this way, what the benefits are. But I also have to be able to tell you, okay, now this is how this could go wrong for you. So you are aware that if you do it this way, this could also happen. Which I guess in a way that did give me a bit of a different perspective to how I approached my own instruction. I didn't change anything really, but I was at least more aware of when I was making decisions that I was very clear on the reasoning behind it. And I don't know if I ever told y'all, but there were times that I would make decisions, and in the back of my head, I'm like, man, I do need to let them know, okay, well, I just tried this out. Man, don't do this. Like, it's not going to end well. Like, it will be uphill battle for you. Maybe try this other route and see what happens. And so I usually had the two of you in the back of my mind when I was making decisions. I'm like, okay, I need to keep track of what's happening. I need to take notes. So if this situation comes up for them, or if I'm like, hey, this is what happened, I want to tell you about it. So in case it ever comes up for you, you've already heard an example. I just want to be able to always have information for you that was as truthful and useful as I could make it, which I think helped me teach better, because I had to take into consideration that I'm like, okay, I am the lone teacher in the building, but I do have two other teachers who, not that you relied on me for things, but that I'm like, nah, they might have a question. And if this is something that I know could happen, like with their demographic, then I need to be really paying attention to how I'm handling it, so I know what information to share.
Yeah.
The second part was, is there anything you would change about the mentor experience? And I have things, but we'll come back to me. But Gabby, you know what they are.
I know.
But there was, it's fine. It's fine. Okay, so anything you would change, or anything that you feel was, that if you had to do it again, that you're like, I would want this to happen again. So change, or that for sure you would keep.
Stephanie?
Well, I mean, since I just kind of tagged along, I probably didn't go through it about the formal way of becoming a mentee. But honestly, I wouldn't change it. I think it would be nice to be able to offer this to all the dance teachers, especially first-year teachers that are in the Maryland State area, just because we really need someone to talk to. I don't think I would have made it through my first year if I wasn't talking to both of you all. Like, I can't do this, help! So it definitely really helped. And then, because even though we are assigned, I know especially in my county, we are assigned like a mentor teacher, a consulting teacher, but they weren't necessarily in my field. So I had someone who had a background in elementary education in English. I'm like, okay, so is that going to help me with dance and movement thing and secondary? And so some of the ideas that she was throwing at me, I was like, that's not going to work for my students. And then just having to I was like, this is what she's telling me to do, but is there any other suggestions that you might, want to give? So I think it definitely helps just to even have a mentor.
Yeah. I also think it was really helpful that you were local, like that we're all in the same state, because getting to talk at the MDEA conferences is really nice. And being able to go to your concert my first year, I was like, oh, okay, like I feel better. I see how it's done. I can do this. So I would recommend, I guess, for any future pairings, that's definitely a part of it. And then I think they did probably consider the demographic populations that you formerly taught at and that Stephanie and I currently teach. And I think that was a good pairing as well.
And yeah, I 100% agree, because I can't fathom being able to give you the type of information I gave had I not taught at the locations that I had taught at. Because I, like the things you would describe, I'm like, oh yeah, no, I've been through that. Okay, I get it. Try this. I think for me, the only thing I would change was the tracking of it, because that was hilarious. It was wild for no good reason. I don't know, and I understand data is important. I get it, but I don't be caring about that. I'm like, just let me do what I have to do, please.
I think because it was such like a natural relationship, we didn't need the tracking.
Yeah.
Like it just happened.
I agree with that. Because, and we had talked about this, that the tracking felt very, don't want to say it was like very much boxed in, that if I were talking to someone who I didn't speak to them outside of mentoring them, then that list would have been fine. That I'm like, okay, well, I know, like, if I'm only talking to Stephanie specifically about this stuff and I don't speak to her about nothing else, then I can see going through those checklists and typing up the information like that. But I'm like, I can't document all the side conversations. And I'm like, some of these conversations, I'm like, no, y'all don't need this data. Like, this ain't your business. Like, don't worry about that. I was like, I don't think you really want to know what I told them, because I gave them a real answer and it may not be the answer that you want to put on record, but it is the one that will get them through this situation. So do with it what you will. And so I think that by far, because it was just so weird. And even when we explained that, we're like, well, no, this is why we're doing it like this, but we'll still give you all this information. They're like, nah, fill this out. And I'm like, I ain't filling it out. And I'm like, I'm disobedient and I might be a bad influence sometimes.
People who are like very on top of things, this is the one thing we were not on top of in the least bit.
The one thing. And I was like, I am usually much better than this, but
Same.
I could not bring myself to sit down and try to take an organic relationship and fit it into the box. I just could. I was like, I'm not here for it. I was like, I'm really okay. And so I think that would be it. But the actual dealing with the two of you, I agree that us being within 30 minutes or so of each other was very helpful. That I knew, thankfully there were no situations where you're like, but you need to come observe me, because they need an outside person now because I keep getting written up. And so thankfully that was never an issue. But even Gabby being able to go to one of your concerts, and that was awesome. Stephanie being able to keep you from like trying to quit, because that was sis, that was a rough year.
Listen, I was out of there. I was out of there.
It was so bad. And I'm like listening. I'm just like, I know I'm always trying to be on my way out, but she is really about to be on her way out. And I'm like, give it a little bit longer. Let's see how this works. But it was crazy to me, because it was also very much in our conversations, the idea of like, okay, even after you've given it all that you have, if you still decide, okay, yeah, no, I can't do this, I'm like, you can still call me. I'll still do whatever I can, but don't quit in the middle of the school year as much as you may want to, because I've wanted to many a time. But I'm like, be a professional.
One time when I walked out one of my classes, I was like, should I go back?
The right answer is yes.
Yes,
But the real answer is like, I don't want to though. But it's okay. It happens.
Wait a minute.
Like, sometimes you just need that to happen. I've done that before. I did that a few times. I got in trouble one time for doing it, because they said I left the kids unattended for like ever. And I was like, I didn't though. I was like, I was gone for maybe 5-10 minutes, and they were on stage rehearsing. And had I needed to go and get like a costume piece or something, it would have been the same thing. And you wouldn't have said anything. But your issue was that I was clearly upset. They were in their feelings. We're all mad. And so it turned into, I abandoned children. I was like, whatever. I was like, do I still work here though? Oh, all right. They're fine. Like, they're good. But yeah, sometimes you do need to walk away. And I think that's a thing that people don't really acknowledge with teachers. We're people. It's like, sometimes I need a moment. And if I tell you I need the moment, you should give me that moment. Like, let me have it.
And don't penalize me.
Exactly. Now, if I'm being crazy with the moment, then that's a separate conversation. Like, if I'm like flipping tables on my way out, okay, maybe address that. But if not, if I'm literally like, I just need to step out and no one is being endangered, let me do that. because in the long run, that will be more beneficial for everyone involved than that idea that for some reason, as a teacher, you're supposed to be perfect and you're supposed to just power through and make it happen. Which I hope I was able to always get that message across, that you don't have to be perfect at this. You just need to do what you need to do. And as a person, you are more important. Because if you're not okay as a person, you as a teacher is not going to work out. So,
I think like one of the important things coming from that was just like, I need to show my students that I'm a human being and like tell them when I'm not okay, tell them when I'm super overwhelmed, tell them when they're stressing me out. If I'm upset, like I have cried in front of my students, not frequently, but it has happened. And like, just like you said, we are humans.
Yeah, man, that crying in front of a group of kids is, ooh, I don't like doing it. I have done it. There was only one time where I was like, yeah, no, it's going to happen. And I told them before I started crying, I was like, all right, I am not okay, but I do have to tell you this. And because I had to deliver, it was the first high school I was at. A lot of them had gone to the middle school I was at previously, and they knew one of my friends, one of the other arts teachers who had just passed. And so when I found out, the person who told me was like, you have to tell those kids that, like the ones who had him, like they need to know. And I'm just like, I don't want to deliver that message because I'm processing this and I'm gonna start sobbing. And I told them, I was like, all right, I'm not okay. And I'm gonna start crying, but I just need you to hear this information. And it was out of the whole class, it was just like maybe 5 or 6 of them. And when I tell you hot mess, there was no more instruction that was happening after that because I'm crying, that group of kids is crying, and the other kids are just looking like, what do we do? Should we just sit down? And I was like, just do what you're gonna do. Just, I don't care. Like, I can't do this. But outside of that very, where I knew it was gonna happen, it has happened a couple times. I don't think it ever happened with anyone younger than my high schoolers. I think I usually held on to it, but by the time I was doing high school, it was like, all right, look, y'all closer to adulthood than anything else. I'm gonna be very to the point with you. I'm a person. I have feelings. I have emotions. This is where we are right now. I've cried a couple of times with kids. I don't think I've cried in the college realm yet.
Whether your cries out of anger or like just
all of the above.
Okay.
It has varied. Yeah, especially like with dance company. Oh, there have been tears of anger before. And I'm like where everybody's done and we're all upset. And there have been tears of me feeling that my kids got slighted. And I come to their defense, but the slight still happened. And so I'm upset because I'm like, you did everything I asked of you. You did everything that you could. And this was still the response. So I'm upset about that, which I'm crying about it. And I'm like, I don't know why I'm crying, guys. I'm just really pissed. And then they're crying. And now we're all crying together. And it's just like, this is a lot. But those are my babies, though. Like, a lot of them, like, still talk to. In fact, I actually really do need to schedule the interview with all of them. Because they said a lot of them said that they would do it. They were okay being filmed and answering questions. But I'm like, they're like adults. They're like, I think they may all be drinking age at this point. They're like, adult people.
They can make a decision to do that.
I think a couple of them might be able to rent a car at this point. I think so.
You are good.
You got to be, what, 24 to rent a car?
I think either 24 or 25.
I think 25.
Okay, one just turned 25. And it's like her and another. It's the two of them that I always, like, we just, every year we have to go to like lunch or dinner together. We try to go at least twice, but we rarely let a year go without us having gone out. And so she just turned 25, so that means there should be 25. So yeah, so they can rent cars, so they're adults. Like, but those are my babies. Those are the babies. Yeah, I think it'll be fun. Some of them are like real lit though, so I'm like, okay, guys, we gotta set some ground rules.
One down a little bit.
Set some ground rules, because and like even some of the like adults like us type of adult people. But I'm like, I mean, if you cuss, you cuss. I don't care. Like, we're grown. Our market is not for children. It's fine. But that being said, some of them are like, nah, man, you're going to have to rein that in. Like, I already know. You're going to
like, just go ahead and practice not using those words now.
Like, just get that together. Don't insinuate anything. Don't talk about nothing. If you're doing anything illegal, I don't want to know. Keep that to yourself. Don't bring it up, because I don't edit these videos. I'm like,
that's it. That's it.
It's gonna be in there, and if they come looking for you, they're gonna find you. And if they ask me, I'm gonna just be like, well, this is the contact information they gave me. I'm sorry, I love you, but like, I can't go to jail. So, but most of them, most that I've kept up with have, they turn out well. They have like families and stuff. And I'm like, oh, you're like adults. So, you're so old now. And then I'm like, oh God, I'm old. Wait. Like that's a thing. But yeah, I think that is a good lesson. And did I ever say that? I don't know. Cause I used to just say stuff and I'm like, hey, maybe do this. Some stuff I told y'all, I didn't really flesh it out all the way. I was like, this sounds like a good idea. Try this. I did the opposite and it was terrible. So maybe do this. And so, but I feel like that idea of, because I know I would say it in my building, and I'm like, but I'm a person and I need you to acknowledge that. Like, I can be upset. Now, how I handle it, okay, that's debatable. That's where we can have our disagreements. Mm-hmm. But the fact that I am a human being, I am a person and should be treated and respected as such, like, that's non-negotiable. Like, I just am. Like, I am just a person that happens to be a dance educator. Like, this happens to be what my career choice is. Mm-hmm. But when I leave this, I'm still a person. Like, I'm still somebody's mom. I'm somebody's sister. I'm somebody's daughter. I'm somebody's friend. So I'm like, I have other things outside of this, so you can't just pigeonhole me like that. Yeah. All right. So our last topic is, how have you been adjusting to distance learning? And I know I talked to you guys offline about this a little bit, that I've spoken about this with a few different people, and each time it's different. And, I'm very thankful that I know people who teach in different parts of dance education to hear how things are being addressed from different perspectives. But I'm trying to think, I don't think anyone's been with middle school yet. Mm-hmm. I think everyone was high school, college, or studio. So y'all have a younger group that is at a special age. They be going through it for them 3 years. Yeah. So let's just start with, how have you been handling the transition into the distance learning with the middle schoolers?
Well, initially I was like, okay, we're going to be out for 2 weeks. Not a problem. Here's the work. Get it done. Boom. And then obviously the extension dates kept extending. Now we're going to the end of April. Now we're going to this date. Now I was like, okay, so how can we figure this out? So luckily in my county, we've been given the lessons that we have to give to all of our students, because they want everyone to be on the same page. Excuse me. However, even though we're providing them with these lessons, I'm like, okay, well, why aren't students actually turning in assignments? And I thought it was just me, because I was like, well, I'm not a core class, so maybe they're just not paying that much attention. I'm a special area. But then we're noticing that it's pretty much across the board, where students really aren't turning in a lot of assignments. If they're turning it in, it's not really good quality stuff. Like some stuff was half, copy and paste. One student wrote to me, the cognitive development of 12-year-olds. And I'm like, cognitive development? You probably don't even know what that means.
Like, who wrote this for you?
But like, aside from the work and the quality of work and students not actually turning it in, I have actually started dancing with them, and I did get a lot of positive feedback, especially from parents just saying, I really appreciate you actually having them get up and dance, because I'm tired of them just sitting around doing nothing. But then now it's kind of getting to a point where the students are like, okay, I appreciate dancing. I appreciate us going over our choreography just in case we go back to school. But they're like, well, why are we still going over choreography? Because I feel like we're not going back. So now I feel like they're kind of drifting away from, being super motivated to do it. But just to kind of get them back on track with motivation of it, I did have them, I've assigned different weeks for students to actually teach class. So that was pretty fun. So they were actually a little bit more invested in it. So that worked well. There was one more thing that I was going to bring up, and I forgot because I kind of went on to that part of it. And I guess just as faculty, we've kind of just been working as teams to figure out what works best for our students. Because originally, like, all of our offices have told us to give out 2 lessons per week for the students. And a principal was like, well, I know what works best for our students. They're not going to be able to do 2 lessons. So we gave out 1 lesson. Now we have to go back and change it, or not go back, but kind of go back to the ways that we previously were doing it and giving out 2 lessons per week. And the kids are already like, well, if the second one's an option, I'm like, why do I even need to look at it? So they are really distanced from it. I know that they miss their friends a lot. They miss their teachers a lot. They miss being in the building, which I do as well. We've also really gone into checking with them on their mental health and their emotional health, because a lot of them come from homes and backgrounds and foster care, and like, it's a lot that they're dealing with, and school was some of their outlets that they're not able to get anymore. So I kind of feel for those students. I feel like I might be rambling a little bit. Gabby.
Go ahead.
And then, like, I feel like I just miss my students, especially like my honors group, because I feel like this is our 3rd year with them, so we were finally able to like really gel together this year. And like, I was just so happy. Like, every performance that they did, I cried. Like, we went to Morgan State. They had the best time of their life performing on their stage. Like, I've never been in a theater this huge before. Then we had a master class with Ballet Hispanico. They were just like really good, really just happy about that. Then we just had so much more that we still had to do before the quarantine. And they're just like, so I guess we're not going to go to like a dance festival. I guess we're not going to have our concert. I guess we're not going to go to the middle school showcase. So they're just kind of like, they're really getting down, and they need something to uplift them.
Yeah. I think the hardest part for me has been what you said about, like, since this is both of our 3rd years, not getting to finish up with that group of students that were like our original babies. Like, I've been looking forward to seeing them through all the way through their middle school dance career since they were in 6th grade. And at our concert, the last piece we always do is a combination of the 8th grade classes doing like a big finale piece. And they're saying to me, they're like, I've been looking forward to doing that since I was in 6th grade. And I'm like, and now you don't get to. It's so sad. Like, so that's been really challenging for me, and letting go of all the performances we had scheduled. Like, April, May, and June are big performance months. So there were a lot of things we didn't get to do, pieces that we worked on all year that never got to be performed. So now I'm adjusting to, like, what do we do with that? Do we carry it into next year? Do we just, like, put it away? So that's been hard. And then not having a concert is, of course, very disappointing. And then as far as actual learning, it's been a struggle. It's definitely been a struggle. I feel like I spend my whole day answering questions that if maybe they just did like a little more reading, the directions could answer.
Oh my gosh. I'm sorry, I'm going to cut you off. So we've literally been in our jazz unit, and just thank the Lord that with the content office gave us specific jazz stuff. It just kind of flowed right where we're out of school now. We're still in our jazz unit. We've been talking about Bob Fosse 2 weeks. In the summary or reflection, you're supposed to write a paragraph about Bob Fosse. Why am I getting emails about, so what dancer are we supposed to do? I'm like, well, we've only been talking about one for the past 2 weeks. I'm going to kind of guess and say.
I had something similar. We're doing a choreography project. They're like choreographing their own solo. And the first week this was like 3 weeks ago, we talked about a motif. And like, I understand it was a far reach for middle schoolers to understand the concept of a motif. But like, I gave them video examples. I gave them PowerPoints. We talked about it on Google Meet, like everything. I recorded myself talking about it and posted it on Google Classroom. And then last Friday, a couple days ago, I get a question and someone just said, what is a motif? And like, I feel like I've been really patient during this and I've done everything I can to help them and I've gone above and beyond. But like, you're just going to sit here and tell me that you didn't read any of that I just posted. Like, did you even try? So that's been frustrating. Like when I make that PowerPoint for each week, I'm like, I read through it so many times. I'm like, is this too much detail, not enough detail? Are the instructions clear? And then a second after I post it, I'm getting like bombarded with Google Classroom notifications. And I'm like, please go back and read the PowerPoint. And then if you still have questions, we can talk about it. So that's been challenging. Trying to just accommodate for equity issues, I guess. Like, kids that have, a lot of the kids were given Chromebooks, but maybe they just have like different access to internet, or their Chromebook maybe doesn't have video recording capabilities. So that's been challenging. And then like the ESOL students, trying to modify things for them, and then just figuring out how to grade in a way that's forgiving, but still holding them to standards. Like, I just don't want to do the wrong thing. And I feel like I keep asking all these questions and they're like, just do you. Like, trust yourself, it'll be good. And I'm like, but I don't know what to do. So
yeah, kind of talking about that grading. I don't know if this is how it is for your county, but for our county, all of our assignments are non-graded. So they're all considered practice grades. So I think that also comes with the struggle of students not actually completing them because they're like, well, it's not a grade. It's not going to affect my grade going up or down. So why even do it? And then also our Google Meet classes, apparently, they're also, they're optional. So you can come in, you don't have to be there. You can be there if you want to. I'm like, if with all these things being optional and all this downtime that they have, you kind of need something to kind of give them some type of rigor, because not everyone has mom and dad at home that's going to check to make sure that they're getting their work done. Right. And so, and like with some of our students as well, even though they might have gotten devices, they may not have Wi-Fi at home. So how are they still going to be able to do the work? And I know we also have print copies that are going to them as well, but how are we supposed to grade those? So it's been a lot.
Like, I know that idea of the assumption that everyone has a parent in the home staying on top of them to make sure that the work is getting done. And I'm like, you can't make that assumption. Like,
Not at all.
I'm like, if when they were showing up in the school building, you acknowledged that everyone didn't have that, you still need to be acknowledging that. I'm like, that didn't change with us being quarantined. Like, they still may not have that parent who's able to either be there, because some of them have parents who are considered essential. So the parent is still having to go out, or sometimes you just have a parent who they're just like, figure yourself out.
Mm-hmm. And we have a lot of students like that. Or because I know there was one student who hadn't turned in assignments for a couple of weeks, and she's like, I apologize, I haven't turned anything in, but listen, I'm the only one home and I have to watch 5 younger people. Mm-hmm. Yep. It's like my aunt drops my cousins off and then I'm in charge of watching. Like, this is a 12-year-old.
And I know a lot of the parents are overwhelmed right now. Like, I know that's a lot of the feedback that the schools have been getting. And I completely understand that. And I tried to be very sympathetic of that. Like, when I call home, I never start the conversation with, your child hasn't turned in any assignments yet. I always start the conversation with, like, how are you guys doing? How are you handling it? Is there anything I can do to help you? Maybe did you need some modifications for the assignment? But I know that they're still overwhelmed because they're having to not only help their kids with the work, but provide them with the structure and the time management that school would normally be providing for them. So I'm like, we get it. The teachers are overwhelmed too. It's not just you, but at the same time, we're just doing what we're being told to do. So, like, you can't fault us for that.
Agreed. And as a teacher who is a parent, then that's also a weird dynamic because I have to, and like, again, my students are technical adults, bless them. It's like, I have to explain to them sometimes that I'm like, okay, yes, email me if you have questions, like that's no problem. But understand, I have 3 kids who I'm now quote unquote homeschooling. I'm trying to get them through the rest of the semester. I'm trying to finish my own semester because I'm in school, and I'm trying to make sure that I'm getting you through this semester. I was like, so honey, there's a lot happening. So read the instructions first. Let me tell you, they don't outgrow that has been my takeaway.
Wow.
That they're over 18.
I know, I thought it was just middle school.
Yo, I was like, this is literally every level of teaching. I have seen it. And I'm like, y'all just really be out here not reading the information. Like, you just want me to tell you, do this, and that'll get you the grade.
The
like, no.
Right there.
Like you were saying, Gabby, like, I spend so much time reading and rereading my posts before I put them up in Google Classroom. And this one child, sweet child, bless him. But it was like he was asking questions that I was like, but you just repeated back what I said. Work that out. Like, you got it. Like, it's really okay. And I have made my work, it was still on track of what I would have been doing if we were still in the studio. I didn't veer too far away from it because I was like, well, this is what you were expecting to do, so I'm going to try to keep it as close as possible. But I've been more lenient, and I took away the writing component. So I'm like, all I need you to do, and which we brought up motifs, they had to do a combination, and then every week you had to choose two of the movements to manipulate. And so I'm like, we're counting each movement as its own motif. So I was like, I think they had 14 or 15 of them. I was like, each week you choose 2. And you just keep building. So by the end, so this past Friday, they should have had 8 motifs that were manipulated in their phrase. And when I tell you the questions that I received over the course of the past 4 weeks about that, and I'm just like, guys, after the first week I understood, because I'm like, okay, you've never done this before. This is a like level 1 modern class. You've never done it. I got it. So I posted video. I took a video of me discussing motif and manipulation. I posted a picture that had like a breakdown of what each thing meant. I posted me doing the original movements just in the order that I chose, because they could choose what order they put them in. And then I recorded a video of me doing the same combination, but with manipulations. And I'm just like, guys, please read. Please read. And if you don't understand something after you've read it, then ask me that. But don't ask me something that is 100% either in writing or in the videos. Like, go through, like, I didn't record these videos for fun. I hate being recorded. I'm like, everyone knows that about me. Like, I always tell people I hate it. But I'm like, I did these videos so you could see how this could be applied. But also, how you decide to apply it is up to you. I'm giving you that freedom. I'm not saying you have to do it exactly the way I did it. This is just how I interpreted it. And I know when I'm watching, each of you will interpret it differently. And it's okay. And when I tell you that level of freedom will mess somebody up, And there has just been so many questions. And I'm just like, y'all, I love you dearly, but this is a bit much. But, they're sweethearts. And they're trying, and I give them that. They are trying. They just need to read for comprehension purposes more frequently.
So I'm surprised to see that it doesn't change from the levels. It's like they don't know how to adapt to a situation, because for our county, YouTube doesn't work on their devices if they're in the middle school level. High school, it works. So the work that we were receiving from our office of dance, a lot of the links were on YouTube. So one student says, hey, I wasn't able to get off my device, but I pulled it up from my phone. I'm like, that's it. On the other hand, I'm getting 100. The links don't work. Well, did you try pulling the links up on a different device? Have you tried using your cell phone, which I'm sure is right there next to you? Figure out things. And they're just like, oh, it doesn't work, then no, I'm not doing it.
Mm-hmm. It's unfortunate that it doesn't change. When I went from middle school to high school, I was like, oh, so y'all still do this? Y'all still act like this? This was supposed to be better. And then college, I'm like, okay, bet. It has to be better now. And it's like,
nope.
No. And it's not even that I'm teaching a freshman level class. This is freshmen through seniors. I have graduating seniors in my classes. And I'm just like, y'all really out here not reading and comprehending what you're reading. What? I'm like, at what point does this get fixed? Because now, this is...
Because here we are in college. Still not fixed.
If it's not fixed by now, you're about to just go out into the workforce not knowing how to figure stuff out yourself. Or that's when you're going to get the crash course in it. And I'm like, yeah, that can work, but it would be much easier for you to figure that out beforehand so you don't struggle as an adult and potentially lose a job and a paycheck. It is better to figure it out. Preferably while it's that free public school education if you're in public school. But dang, I was like, college? I was like, y'all really out here not? I was like, it's like teaching high school. You're just I don't have to call home. That's the only difference. It is just like teaching high school. I don't have to call home. I just have to tell them hey, maybe work on this. But even that, I don't really have to. I just do it because I'm so accustomed to always doing it, because that's what I've done for 10 years. But I don't even have to do that. I just have to have office hours that if they want to discuss something, they can come to me. But otherwise, I just show up, teach, grade, leave. And they still be out here. Now.
Look, we have office hours. I was like, well, I feel like a professor.
Look, when I tell you, every time someone addresses me as Professor Bennett, I'm like, hey, I know, right? I am a professor, yes. But man, my office, I never have office hours though. I'm like, nah, email me, because it takes me an hour and a half to get here and an hour and a half to get home. I'm not coming unless I know I'm meeting a person. So let me know. I was like, because the first semester I did not have an 8 a.m. My first class was at 9:30. And so I was like, okay, if you want to schedule a meeting at 9, I can leave my house a little earlier and make it there in time to meet with you before class. There's 10 minutes in between classes. I can maybe meet with you then. I will not meet with you after class because I have to go home and pick up my kids. So let me know if you come in at 9 and we can meet. But this semester, I had an 8 a.m. and I was like, so let me tell you what I'm not doing. I'm not meeting you before 8 a.m.
Oh, no.
Because what time do you have to get on the road? 6?
Yeah, I would leave around 6. And I would get there around 7:30, which you could say, oh, well, if you're there at 7:30, you have time. And I'm like, yeah, but I also was just driving for an hour and a half, chugging coffee and water because I'm trying to stay awake. So I have to go to the bathroom. And then I have to set up and make sure I'm ready for the day. And by the time I'm done setting up, I have people are there. They are showing up. And I'm just like, I can't meet with you. But feel free to always email me I have no issues responding to email. I will respond to an email. I try within 24 to 48 hours. I try not to go past 48 hours without at least saying, okay, I've seen this. I'll address it in more detail later, but usually I try to handle it right then while it's at the top of my mind. But I was like, y'all, I ain't got no office hours. Call me. Set up a meeting. We'll figure it out. But chat, that drive.
It's hard to juggle like giving them individual attention. Because I have 220 students, and I don't think they realize that. I'm trying, but like if you can help me by just maybe reading the directions, that would be great. Because as much as I'd love to give each and every 220 of you individual attention, I can't. I just physically don't have the time.
Yeah, that gets overlooked a lot. It's like, well, why aren't you helping this one? And it's like, do you know how many kids I got? Like, I can't. And, let me again, so thankful. I have so much fewer students now. It's lovely.
Yeah.
It's lovely. But still, that I'm like, okay, but even if you just took one class and let's say you have 30, you really want me to go one by one when y'all could have read these instructions and at least 25 of you could have understood what it was. Like that. And I'm like, and the time that I'm spending helping this one is the time that I'm not spending helping someone else. And there's only so much time in the day. So it's not I think it gets kind of turned into well, you don't want to. And I'm like, no, it's not that. Is that I just cannot. I'm like, this is not possible. And I did learn towards the end of teaching high school that I'm like, I'm not taking this home. If you don't hit me between the hours of 7:15 a.m. and 2:45 p.m., you're not getting a response until I show up to work the next day. Like, these are the hours that I work. I can't keep taking your child home when I have my own. And if I didn't have kids, I still got a life. Like, you don't know what I'm doing when I leave here. Like, I could have a whole nother job happening. I can't take this.
I really started to do this year.
And it's like, it's stressful at first when you first start doing it because you feel like, oh my gosh, well, they're going to say that I didn't answer. And what if I miss something? They be all right. They can wait till you show back up to work.
Yeah, no, I was like, I have to detach because if not, I'm going to, go insane. And so when I would get off this year, I would not turn my computer on. Nope, I don't have the app on my phone. Nope. I'm like, nope. Now I have the app because obviously I got to make sure that I'm responding back to students now. But other than that, I'm like, no, I have to detach from this because it's a lot. Because as teachers, we're guidance counselors, we're parents, we're teachers, we're all of the above.
Especially as dance teachers, because they relate to us more, and what they're learning with us is more personal and emotional. So they just got more skills they need to get out.
That is so very, very true. And I will say that is always like one of my, like, that's a hill I'm always willing to die on. That I'm like, just even taking a slight step back and just saying the arts in general. Like we just do something a little different. And it just is what it is. And I'm like, and that's fine. It's not a slight to anyone else. I'm just saying from my personal experience and from what I have seen and what I have lived, that connection, as much as we love it, is that much more draining. And it's just like, we do so much and we put so much in that it's like, okay, but give me a minute to pour something back into me. Like, let me, because if I don't, I won't have anything to give you. And it took me a while to get to that point. That I was like, okay, why am I always like, I love teaching. I love dance. I'm like, why am I hating this so much? And it's because I was giving everything, but I wasn't getting anything. And so I'm like, I have nothing to give.
Like, I'm always so tired. And I've gotten pretty good at not bringing work home under normal circumstances. I don't check my email in the evening. But what I do need to improve at is I usually stay like an hour after the school day to like get things done there. So like, yes, I am detaching when I'm home, but I'm still not like leaving right when the work day is over. So I need to work on that a little more.
Yeah, I was good for that. I was like 2:45. I'm out.
Yeah, there's one teacher literally as soon as 2:50 hits, I'm like, how would she's gotta get out. I'm like, I'm not even what. Like,
or the teachers that are packing up with the kids, like.
I was like, there's kids still leaving out. Like, were you packing your bag? Like, as business was going?
I think the duty hours are like 15 minutes past when the kids leave, I thought.
No. I think our duty, well, depending on whatever, if you're doing like morning duty or after. But.
Man, no, I was that person. I would try not to always leave with the kids. But there were times, like, I wouldn't drive off of the lot with them. But I would walk out that building, like when they were dismissed, I would walk out with them and I would kindly sit in my truck until 2:45. I was like, I'm out. I'm done. I'm done for the day. And at exactly 2:45, I'm like, put it in drive. Let's go. I will see y'all at 7:15. And I was always so thankful I never had bus duty. Oh, I was so thankful because I was like, oh, that means I got to actually stand out here and be here. Oh no. We can't do that.
I felt so bad for the teachers that have to do it during the wintertime.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh.
Nope.
Couldn't do it. I got locker room duty. Yay. So exciting.
Yeah.
I had hallway and then breakfast duty.
I had lunch. I didn't go.
Okay.
Man. I didn't. I would start off going and then it would taper off. And I'm like, I'm not doing this. Like, this is, first of all, I was confused by what they were asking us to do. Even hall duty. I'm like, well, I'm not running anybody down. I don't care where you're supposed to be. I'm going to let security handle you because what am I going to do? I don't know you. I don't know that that's your real name. I'm not checking this ID. I'm not trying to be that close to you. Just get out the hallway. And so usually I didn't have a lot of problems because it was like, oh, well, Miss Bennett cool or whatever. I was like, yeah, because Miss Bennett don't be caring. Like, I was like, So they would hit the corner. Like, if it was someone who didn't know me, they would try it. And I'm like, okay, well, you can go ahead that way if you want to. Administration's over there. You will get snatched up. They're like, all right, whatever. And I'm like, all right, bet. And then sure enough, next thing I see is done with administration. I'm like, tried to help you. And it was the ones who knew, they were like, nah, she cool. You want me to just go back that way? I was like, yeah, no, go that way. I was like, security's right there. Go back. Circle yourself around. Don't get caught. That's all I got for you. Because I'm not writing you up. I don't want to do that paperwork. I don't want my name on any of this stuff. Because then they were like, I would have to contact. I was like, but I don't know this child. I don't know this parent. I have no relationship. Why am I contacting them? I was like, I wouldn't want a phone call from a random teacher from my child's building.
Because the parents will be like, okay.
Exactly. So I'm like, I'm not doing this. So y'all be all right. Don't get caught. I would do that often. That was not responsible of me, but no one died. They were fine. They all lived. Some of them got written up. Wasn't my problem. But yeah, no, lunch duty was just weird because it was like stand in the lunch line. And I'm like, why am I standing here?
One teacher was like, I hate just watching the kids eat. Like, why are they so sloppy? I was like, okay, well, I hope I never have to do lunch duty.
Lunch duty is weird. I'm like, why am I in here? Like, I mean, obviously they shouldn't be like ripping and running everywhere, but I know, like, because even at my kids' school, like, it's so odd that they'll say, it's like, okay, well, they have to be quiet, and I'm like, but they're not in class. Like, should they be screaming? Maybe not, but that's how kids be talking. And it's like, if I'm talking to you normal tone, then the people next to us trying to have a conversation might be a little bit louder because they're trying to hear each other over us, which means the next group is going to be a little bit louder. So I'm like, okay, I don't think it's an intentional all the time that they're yelling. It's just that there's so many voices happening that everyone's trying to make sure that the people they're talking to can hear them. But I'm like, but why would you want them to sit and eat quietly? I'm like, this is one of the only times during the day that they have a moment to just kind of relax. Like, let them do that. And so I was like,
I remember a couple times in elementary school, we actually had a silent lunch. I don't remember like why, but like if somebody was doing something, everybody has a silent lunch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my kids tell me about that.
In school suspension. Like,
like, which is crazy.
It was silent in that cafeteria.
That's crazy. I've never heard.
I don't think that could happen at our school.
That wouldn't be the testimony there.
Absolutely not.
They're like, write me up then. I'm gonna be loud in there too.
Yep.
Detention gonna be lit. Yes. Like, yeah, no, that's the thing. I can see it happening. That's fair. Well, all right.
So one more thing before I guess we close out. Mm-hmm. Another thing with like the responses that I'm getting for students, like I'm tired of getting like the texted responded answers like IDK. Does that change?
I get it from parents. I get it like are you, like the letter R, the letter U, going to post that?
No, ma'am, that is not okay. Let me try that again. With some type of punctuation.
Oh my God. I'm sad that the parents are sending that. Like, first of all, that's a problem. I just told someone, I was like, I can't, even when I'm like texting friends, I can't text like that. Like, that drives me insane. At most, like the word though, I might shorten that to THO. And even then, sometimes I'm like, no, just go ahead and put the rest of them letters on there. Like, I can't do this. This isn't for me. This isn't my age bracket, apparently. But,
and then I'm like, I know I'm not an English teacher, but can I get like a full-on response and not IDK? Like, if something you don't understand, maybe you should, ask a question or something.
You would think.
You would think that. It's too much like right. But I would argue that you shouldn't have to be an English teacher for them to write complete, coherent sentences. Because that should just be how you write responses, is in a complete, coherent sentence. Like, that's just...
Because that's how you're going to talk. You need to talk like that in a complete sentence when you go out here into the real world. Like,
it's like precious lambs. Them and
they don't get it.
They don't. I haven't gotten any papers from the college students like that. I've been very thankful. Yeah. Now I've gotten some sentence fragments and I'm like, I need y'all to do better. Like, I understand it's just dance. I was like, but you're going to just fail this assignment. Like, like this is, and like St. Mary's is an honors college. I was like, y'all better stop playing. Like
we know you can do better.
Like, you will fail. Like, don't play with me like this. Like, come on. But I got it in high school a lot. And so, like, I had to put in the instructions that grammar and spelling do count. Like, it matters. It needs to be a complete sentence. It cannot be a fragment. No run-on sentences, please. Because I would get journals like that. There would be a run-on sentence. And I'm just like, but why, though? Like, why would you be like this? And like, that's only one sentence then. I regret.
At least you get journals, because I tell them a paragraph and they give 3 sentences, which apparently 3 sentences is now a paragraph considered.
I say
I think that's a lie, and I don't subscribe to it.
Because I was like, when I was in school, I was told 5 to 6 or 5 to 7 was a paragraph.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I refuse. I don't subscribe to that lie. I had, you know what? It was a honor student at the high school. It's like, well, a paragraph is just 3 sentences. I was like, no, it's not. It's 5. It's 5. And I was like, no, honey, I can't subscribe. And so if that's the new rule, I don't care. It's still 5.
I think it is. But no, 5.
That's dumb.
The minimum.
I'm like, 2 more sentences will not kill you. And as someone who has to write paragraphs all the time, I understand that sometimes you're like, yo, I can't think of nothing else to say. That doesn't mean the bar needs to be lowered. That just means I need to figure out some more information. Like that, oh my God, no, I will not allow my children to write no 3 sentences talking about that's a paragraph. You a whole lie. That's half a paragraph. If you don't go ahead and write you 2 more sentences, minimum 5 sentences. Come on. Because then you get to, I want to say, I've never heard anyone in college saying that. So why would you tell them that and let them live that lie for like 13 years? And now they get somewhere and they're like, yeah, nah, you got to write more than that.
Yep.
Exactly. I'm like, why? Just have them used to writing it. So by the time they get to that level, it's like, oh, yeah, no, I've been doing this. That's easy. Like, oh, that's dumb. Oh, I hate it. I hate it so much. It makes no sense. All right. Time for our ultimate dance trio. So the question that I'm posing to both of you is, what are 3 tips you will give a dance educator that is entering the field during this current climate? So someone who, bless their hearts, they will be entering this fall teaching dance. What tips would you give them to help them get through?
I need a second to think about that.
Now I'm trying to jot down my notes.
We have a teacher, so one of our teachers just went on maternity leave, and her long-term sub was supposed to start the week after, I guess the first week of our like break. So the sub never met the kids that she's now teaching online. And I'm like, you poor thing. I'm so sorry.
You know, that's rough. I think once I came in to the school year late, and that was weird. I didn't like starting after the kids had started. I was like, I need to meet y'all day one. All right, Steph, did you jot your notes, Steph?
I did.
She's like, I have to write these things down.
I'm such a note person.
It's okay.
So 3 tips for an incoming teacher coming in this fall, because I just have so much that I learned from my first year. But so there are 3 things. So 1, structure and routine plays a major role. Without structure, there's pretty much nothing that you can honestly get done. And once you have that firm foundation and you're sticking to your routines, then as you continue through your teaching experience, students will kind of be able to understand you and kind of like, okay, well, I understand this is what she wants, and we'll able to just kind of flow through. So definitely make sure you have a structure, a routine. Walk your students through your structure routine. Like, I know I spend like the first week just kind of going through like, these are my rules and my expectations of this class. I'm gonna model them for you. We're gonna have groups model them. We're gonna do this as a class. Like, I want this to be so crystal clear that I should be able to step out of the room for a second and you're able to just walk in, go get changed into the changing room, come out, do your drill. Like, it just, like it should just be like drill sergeants. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Also, number 2, be relationships. So this isn't any particular order, but I just happened to jot them down. Building relationships with your students. So because in instances like these, I did have a teacher say like, oh, well, your students must really trust you, because I know a lot of teachers are having troubles with getting students to even turn on their cameras so they can actually see them. So definitely building relationships with the students, because if you're respecting them, they're respecting you, they're going to be able to just kind of follow along with whatever you throw at them. And if they have a question, they'll be able to feel comfortable coming to you and asking you anything. You might hear some stories that you weren't ready to hear from some students, but that just means that they're really just trusting in you. Like one student, I was like, okay, I did not need to know all that, but I guess I'm glad you told me. And then also just having an understanding that you might not get through all of your curriculum that first year. Because I know over the summer before starting my first year, I was like, okay, I'm going to do this for this amount of weeks, and then we're going to have this test happen that week, and then we're going to do the assessment at the end, and it's going to be boom, 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 and then I'm going to start my next unit, and I was like, oh, no, this isn't how, scratch that. Let me figure out who these students really are, and then piece it, throwing in some curriculum.
Sounds good.
One of my answers ties directly into the last one that you just said. Just don't be too fancy. Keep things clear and basic. Like, not that you need to lower your expectations, but it's better for them to get a higher quality of learning with maybe fewer steps than trying to cover the entire ballet unit. Like, my first year, I had the same thing with our ballet unit. I was like, we've only spent 3 weeks on ballet and they're over it. Like, that we have so much more to do. And then I think I was talking with my mentor teacher or Right Start advisor, and she was like, but are you really going to keep them engaged if you keep doing ballet? Like, what's your priority here? So I think just admitting, like, things need to be kept basic, clear, and not too, what's the word? It doesn't need to be too much like a conservatory. Because, so going off of that, the most important thing is to just keep them moving and keep them active. Like, that's what they want. That's what they crave. That's why they come to you. That's why they trust you. And that's why they like you. Just keep them up and moving. Like, yes, it's important to review history and choreography skills, but like, they just want to dance. That's it. And then be patient, take care of yourself, and make your studio a safe space, because that will allow them to feel like they want to open up and show themselves as a dancer. And also just feel like that's somewhere in the school they can go and just know that everything will be fine.
Yeah, because when that happens, you no longer have a lunch break because the kids are there with you.
Like, you will be their lunch break.
Hopping into your planning period, it's like, hey, let's start.
So true. Like, I think those are excellent tips. That, you know, that's the things that I wish I would have heard my first year. And so hopefully there are some incoming educators who will be able to really grasp some of that information and take it with them and make that first year that much easier by taking some of the load off of things that, you know, some of us have already lived through.
Definitely take that first year as a learning experience. Because I was, as soon as I was like, peacing out, but I was like, okay. Get yourself together, you know, just write down things that worked, what things didn't work. And then second year, I came in like, boom, let's do this. Like, I was playing no games. And then my second year, it was like a lot of teachers, like, it's like night and day.
Yes.
Like, awesome. Well, again, thank you, ladies, for joining me today. I greatly appreciate it. And I love talking with you as always. And do you have any social media outlets that you want to plug for people to follow you, to see what you're doing artistically, educationally, or just get you some followers if you would like?
Well, you can always follow me on Facebook, Stephanie Crockett. Catch me doing any other artistic things, dancing, performing with Full Circle Dance Company in the area, and teaching experience things.
I'm good. I'm chilling.
She's like, don't worry about me. Don't add me. All right. So again, thank you all for joining us here at Dance Talk Realness again. If you have any questions, observations, or topics you would like to cover, please make sure to comment, like, subscribe on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Drop any questions, any suggestions, and I look forward to bringing you fresh new content next week. Have a good one. See you later. Bye.